Hi everyone, this is Debbie from Project 39 Mini Albums, and this is Smash My Christmas Stash. I have some collections in my stash that I am trying to use up, so I make room for new papers. This came from Prima, Candy Cane Lane. I received it in a mystery box from Country Craft Creations last year, and it was just miscellaneous papers, and plus I had an acetate sheet, and just a couple of miscellaneous things. So I made a mini album with everything, and let me show you how I use the acetate papers. First of all, it is 5x7 and about a 2-inch spine. I have the cover using one of the acetate sheets on this one. So I added some embellishments, sort of did a collage look on the front. I had a shaker element that I made to look like a Christmas ornament just by scoring a little bit of gold paper. I added a little ribbon to the top and the bottom. Well, let me see what else is here. There's a button that I received from Country Craft Creations in a kit or for a retreat. I forget what it was, but it's beautiful, sparkly, glittery red button. I had some baker's twine that was white and gold that I tied around the acetate. This was an element from the collection. I had a teeny little paper clip. I put it down. I had some poinsettias that I inked up a little bit with some distress to sort of tone it down. It wasn't quite a bright red, so it matched. That was from the collection. This was one of the papers from the collection, and you probably can't see, but on top of his hat is a little bit of feathers. I had this pink feather in my stash, and I added a little bit to the top of his hat. I had this fa la 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 that came on one of the sheets in the collection, and I just scrumpled it a little bit and glued it on. So the shaker has some candy elements that came from the collection for a shaker, and it just added a little touch of magic. Now I added this acetate. Here's the back of it. I added the acetate, and it's real thick. It's not a thin acetate, but it's not transparent, so you really couldn't use it as a shaker. So I thought it would make a nice cover. I scored it. It scores relatively easy. You have to go over it a couple of times. An 1/8 inch bigger than what my spine was, so there was enough room to cover it. I wrapped some chipboard in cardstock and then layered some paper on top, and then I had these little Jingle Bell brads in my stash. I think they're a Tim Holtz brad, and I put them through all the layers, including the acetate, and then used some double-sided adhesive to adhere it to the spine. So that's the front, there's the back, and there's the spine. So let me take you inside and show you what we have. I do not have a tutorial on this. It just sort of sprung from the paper. So in the front cover is this pretty picture, and it says a Merry Ho Ho to You. This will open up. The inside front cover just has a flap, and I fussy cut the deer to make it a tuck spot on that side and on that side as well. But you could of course put photos in there. I do have that held down with a magnet. There is a whole page of these tags, and I use that a lot. So this will come up, and then there's a stacked pocket inside. With the tags, on some of them I cut a small circle out of gold foil paper and then cut a hole in it and then added the ribbon to the top. This tag is on there permanently, but that is the front of page 1. Now, I do have hidden photo mats, and I used leftover paper. There was really nothing left. I also used a punch to punch little tabs out of that acetate, and that makes a nice little tab. It punches, you just have to use a little bit of elbow grease to get it to punch. On this page, loved this little girl. I had some off-white snowball ribbon. I guess it's pom-pom ribbon, but we'll call it snowball ribbon, that I went around the picture on it. I had to use a little bit of some distress ink to dye it with a little bit of pink color. This will open like that, and that'll open like that. This is dimensional, so you could still add a photo under there. That'll close like that, and it's held together with a magnet. Here's a side loading pocket. I added a couple of tags. This one I just stapled on the very top of it, and that one's tied, and then that's just a photo mat tucked in there. And there is our pocket. On the next page, so I also received in that mystery box a pack of these stockings. Maybe there's 3 or 4, and I've used them in a couple of projects, but I added it here. Let me tell you, this really made the book chunky. If I take this out, it's less chunky, but I sort of liked it. It actually has a place to put something inside it. I did back it with some paper just to make this go in and out a little easier. And I just made a tag with some scraps. And there is that in the pocket, and that in the pocket. On this side, I made a belly band closure. There is some of that acetate on the front. It's paper on the back, so I could put a magnet here. This will come up, and room to journal or put a photo there. This I made a little pocket out of some some ribbon I had in my stash. I actually think it was Prima ribbon I had received from Country Craft Creations a couple of years ago. Whoops, and then this comes out, and then we've got that adorable picture of Santa with the deer. This one I had a snowflake die, and I used that and put a hole through it for the ribbon. So that will go in that little fabric pocket, and then that'll close, and there is the hidden photo mat. This only has 3 signatures, but I added some pages to the 3 signatures. Here I fussy cut into the paper, then fussy cut the gold around it, and then fussy cut the mint green cardstock that I used. There's a cute Santa in the pocket. And then finally on the last page, I was trying to utilize all the rest of the paper. This is attached at the top, making it a tuck spot, and that'll go like that. So room for your photos. And then there's a ribbon closure to keep that nice and tight. And again, there's the back, there's our jingle bells, and there's the front. Now I still had just a little bit. I had 2 full sheets of paper. One of them was the tags. So I made a really small mini album. This one is 3.5 by 4.5 by a 1.5 inch spine. I love this tree. It's very muted, sort of out of focus. Merry Christmas I put on top of it. A side loading pocket in the front. So again, I used all the tags and papers I had left to put in here. So we had that fa la la. We have Christmas chimes. Door tag. Christmas Eve. Another tag. And I made a little tag out of that acetate. I have not put anything on it. I really didn't have anything left. That was sort of an afterthought. And then it's just a pocket album. There's 4 pages, so you get 8 pockets, and that's where I put all of the cut aparts and leftover paper, anything I could find that I could put in a pocket. I was thinking of adding snowflakes or something to the pocket, and I sort of just left it plain. So just a couple more tags, just anything I had to make a tag. And there's that. Now this is a top-loading page, but I didn't have enough left to add anything in there. Of course you could. It's just a simple little mini album. And I really had tiny scraps left over after I made this. So there is a couple of ideas on how to use your stash. I only have a couple of 6x6 Christmas paper pads left and maybe 5 sheets of Christmas paper. So I'm really down to the nitty-gritty, and I'm going to start making some cards today. So that's what I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this on how to use your stash. Thanks so much for watching, and have a fabulous day.